Hello everyone and welcome to the SwiftCase Productivity Podcast. My name is Adam Sykes, the founder of SwiftCase, the professional productivity platform, and today I've got with me
Phil Whitby, a developer at SwiftCase.
And Craig McCarthy, development manager at SwiftCase.
Okay, great. So today we were going to talk about self-driving cars, driverless cars, because recently, this week in the news, Elon Musk was talking about how he's going to raise the price of the Tesla models which have got the driverless sort of function in, and also remove some of the models on the more expensive cars, trying to promote the Model 3 rather than the more expensive sort of sport and larger SUV type range. The Model X. So it got us talking in the office a bit about how what basically driverless cars and sort of how far it's come, and like whether it's, I suppose, meeting expectations, and also around the aspects of safety as well around driverless cars, and what people are actually, I suppose, thinking about what they expect the car to do.
Yeah, I think it's generally about how people respond to new technology in general, and I think this is just another step in our process where we just eventually just absorb it and forget about it. And the thing that I thought about first was how I'd read about the resistance towards lifts or elevators when they were first installed in New York, and that the lift, there's a guy who was always in the lift, and traditionally he would open the door in the mechanical, and then he would turn the crank to get the elevator up. And once they installed automatic elevators, the idea was like you wouldn't need this guy anymore, but people wouldn't get in it because they felt afraid that they would die in this elevator, and so they kept the guy in there
To press the
button. To reassure them that like a human can be in there, and he would just press the button. Obviously, I mean, because the original thing was that it had to be someone there to crank it and to open the door. So there was a good reason, but now it was just to reassure people that couldn't make the transition to automation. Without fearing.
I suppose it's similar in some respects to what they're talking about with the trains at the minute, and having more staff on the trains. More, I suppose it's more for the safety amongst the passengers. But it's that resistance to the change, isn't it, really? I mean, ultimately, my opinion on this is that this is going to happen, and I think it's a waste of time us really fighting it, to be honest. And as someone who doesn't drive cars, I can't wait, because it's just don't
have to learn to drive.
Exactly.
Wait for them to be driverless.
Exactly. Well, then there's loads of opportunities that having a driverless car offers in terms of commercially for people who own them and for the environment. I mean, so it could be a taxi for when you're at work. I mean, how much time does your car spend sitting there whilst you drive at 9 a.m. and at 5 a.m?
Exactly.
And it's just sitting there, and it's an investment that is not returning, it's just depreciating.
Well, people might, it depends on how people want to view their cars.
Exactly.
Like cars might become a service rather than an object.
You might not actually own it.
And maybe it's an investment, like the way that people would invest in property now to rent
like
it out. You could just buy a load of cars and you would effectively be a taxi company, because you don't need the taxi drivers anymore. You can just have a fleet of cars that you invest in that.
And I think ultimately as well, what will happen in the long term is it'll turn into more of an activity that you can do potentially,
like at a racetrack or something.
Like horse riding, isn't it? Really, like
exactly.
if we're gonna have driverless cars, then what's the point in having drivers on the actual road eventually? So people will pay for these experiences. I remember the old days when people drove cars.
Well, maybe it might even get to that automated cars, self-driving, can drive so much safer, that they can drive so much faster in areas that we did. So how many times have you driven past a horse, and the horse is clopping along at sort of 5 miles an hour, and they've waved past? Maybe that would be the situation where you have people, especially elderly people who can't let go, driving their petrol cars, and because of these automated self-driving, because they travel so fast, they'll just whiz past them, and people will be like, in exactly the same way. And but look at that kindly old gent, that quaint little thing that they do. I think you're exactly right. That's what's going to happen, isn't it?
But I suppose, like you said, the concerns surrounding safety, it's going to be something. It's an initial thing, isn't it, really? And I think it's kind of staging the rollout of these driverless cars. That's the bit, because as soon as anything goes wrong, everyone's going to jump on it. There's no way we can do this. Let's push it back.
But this was an important thing we were talking about yesterday, wasn't it? It's the idea that the standards that are set for automation are far higher than the standards we set for humans. So if a human has a car crash, they either
no more humans driving anymore.
They claim on their insurance and they're driving again the next day in the courtesy car. You know, if a self-driving car has a car crash, it's off the road for months while it has to be reconfigured and whatever else, because we expect 100% safety record. Whereas, like, you know, how many car crashes happen every day just in the UK alone, and people are back on the road again the next day. You know, they could have been driving dangerously. It could have been their fault. You know, they might not have maintained their vehicle. You know, all of that. But no, that's okay. You've got insurance. You're covered and back on the road. But it's, like, we expect so much more from automated systems, don't we? We expect them to be right, you know, 99.99% of the time, or whatever the, you know, whatever the
threshold
is.
It's probably arbitrary. It's just because we're inherently biased about ourselves. That's what we get onto in another podcast. People are always going to find it difficult to accept that they themselves aren't fully in control. Like people always attribute themselves as having much more control than another person or even another object easily. And those kind of illusions and biases are difficult to break down. So you would always think that you were safer than someone else driving. You know, even if you knew them. You know, and trusted them and had everything else.
But even like when you are driving, that is more of the issue, isn't it? They always say, don't they, that you've got to drive defensively. You know, so you assume that everyone else is trying to crash into you. You have to drive safely so that you don't. You know, you have to avoid them. You have to be looking out, because that guy might actually pull in front of you on the motorway. And I suppose once everything's driverless, if they were interconnected, theoretically, then you know, they should be able to go at whatever speed and always maintain, you know, distances that are safe and so on, without having to worry about, you know, and maybe you could pay for fast lane. You know, like,
that's exactly what will happen, isn't it?
You know, actually what happens is, rather than the vehicle being faster and you being able to drive it faster, is you pay for the lane that goes faster, and you get onto sort of what Elon Musk's other idea about these, like the tunnels,
the boring tunnels.
The tunnels where you literally, you know, you go into you put your car in and it goes on rails or whatever, and then you just come out the other side. Actually, you don't need the rails, because the car can perfectly follow the line of the thing, and you can go whatever speed because you know there's nothing in front of you. And like, if you've got access to these sort of additional tunnels, you go down in wherever, you know, by your office, and come up at your house, and you've got home, avoiding all the traffic, because you can do that, and that's where, you know, you'd be able to pay more to get around faster.
And that thing. We did see a demo that was going around Twitter about 2 weeks ago, maybe even longer, of one of these tunnels, and it looked mind blowing. But once we kind of looked at scrutinised what was actually happening, realised it was
CGI,
nonsense. No, it was real. No, definitely. They went, but it was a short distance, and the car does go to like 150 miles per hour. And it's just because of the self-driving thing that it buffers itself. But there's literally only room for a car, and of course there's a process whereby, you know, it has to go down on the lift. And then done. But, you know, for it to be worthwhile, no one else can be using it, obviously, at the same time. And if enough people get interested in it, then you'll just be queuing to get into that.
But that's when price goes up.
You
know, you get like supply and demand, don't you? So it will only be for the mega rich. But then you get
those people just use like helicopters now.
You get to Uber air taxis, or whatever.
It'll be, that's it.
I quite like this idea though. I like it's because it's like trains, isn't it? Like, you can pay to get. I mean, I went to Milton Keynes the other week, and we could have paid an awful lot more to get a super fast train there. But we got the longer one. But ultimately, I spent more time doing other stuff, because you can do stuff in these cars on a train. So you have to just think, rather than spending like all this time driving to somewhere, if you're getting in this driverless car, you can actually do something productive.
Because that's the issue, I suppose, at the moment, is you look at the driverless car, and what they've done is they've created a car that has the facility to be driverless, when really, if a driverless car doesn't need to be a car.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be any shape. It could,
exactly.
You know, you could be lying down
be
watching a TV. You could be,
yeah.
it's this transition period that it has to look like a car and be drivable as a car, and then have kind of a self-drive mode. But eventually, you could be having your breakfast on
That's the thing. Like if you're going on a big road trip.
Yeah.
Sort of thing where you get there's two of you going and you kind of sharing the duties of driving, but you don't need that anymore, do you?
No, you're just sitting on a couch, equivalent, like watching TV with Netflix on, and you arrive at your destination as if you didn't know where what was going on.
It wouldn't be carsick either, because the thing about carsickness is that it's the change in momentum.
You told me about this the other day, didn't you?
Yeah. So that's what made me think, right? Because it's like you're on a train, you don't get train sick because it's going more or less constant speed, but you get car sick because you're not getting feedback about relative changes. And with the self-driving, they will all be able to maintain the same sorts of speeds as a train. And so therefore, you're like, all those issues disappear, and all the benefits of trains kind of are removed as well. Because it's the equivalent public transport, but without that need.
It's a higher cost, more luxury version of public transport, isn't it? Because it's mass transit still in these cars, but you have your own car. That's so on the motorway will effectively look like a train because all the cars will be equally spaced out, going to whatever destination. It won't be this kind of, you don't know what someone's going to do, and that car's going 20 and that one's going
I wonder how long it'll take to get to that though, because that transitional period, when you look at any futuristic film from like 40 years ago that tries to predict 2020, I mean, think of Back to the Future 2, it has this idea that history is suddenly erased, that historic cars just disappear and then new cars appear.
No, it will be that's what happened now, isn't it?
Really long.
I'm still waiting for that flying car that we've all been promised.
But it's just totally unnecessary and unfeasible, isn't it? It's totally unfeasible without true automation.
Because without air traffic control.
They're just planes.
Someone like tearing their hair out.
The flying car has been invented. It's been around for decades, but of course it's just a plane that's got that can be. So it's just ludicrous. I think our imagination has gone nuts.
It would be the second stage, wouldn't it? Because the initial stage is, how do you have cars that are self-driving in amongst cars that aren't? And that's the difficult bit where you do need. It's kind of lots of driver assist technology, isn't it, rather than self-drive.
That's what I think. The way it's going is the most sensible way, isn't it? Really,
it's the only way consumers would allow it.
Exactly.
You can't, unless you create your own. Unless you do have just the tunnels where you get in which case you've effectively remade the train.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
So you do need to have them alongside until there's a certain tipping point where you can say, sorry, no more human cars. And that's it. That's ages away.
You kind of see it in the supermarkets, don't you now, to be fair, where initially when the self-service tills were introduced, barely anywhere there was just a few. And now you go into supermarkets and it's just,
at least equal now, I'd say.
And you've got like the next stage, because now you've got to scan as you shop.
Exactly.
And which is all about the transition to like the Amazon style. Walk in, walk out. RFID. Or whatever.
And some stuff just feels so archaic now. Like you did an amazing video a couple of months ago or so about jobs that have that were completely phased out, and one of them was like the pin setter in a bowling alley.
The knocker upper.
It's it just seems ludicrous.
Everyone looks at their alarm clock and they should really be mourning the job that a knocker upper did. That they've stolen.
Exactly. So these things are going to happen. It's just how.
It's just the pace
we prepare people for it, I suppose.
And when people have that expectation fulfilled, and it's so normal that they didn't even know of a time when people drove cars, that's going to be strange. Imagine someone who was born like 1850 living to 1960 maybe. How much change they would have seen.
That'd be terrifying.
I mean, it would be terrifying, wouldn't it? I mean, maybe that's what's there for us, like a time when people are born who have no notion of ever having to do manual driving. That's strange, isn't it?
Strange, but I think it's an exciting future. So I think if anyone's got a Model S,
let us know.
Give
us a go.
We'll go and let us know how you think, what you think about the driver's functions and how it's progressing with Tesla and I suppose other companies as well. Google have certainly been involved and drop a comment down below of anything you want to add to the conversation. We'll join you there.
And if I could steer people to our website, swiftcase.co.uk, and don't forget to drive yourself along to SwiftCase, at SwiftCase UK on social media.
Oh, I'm just tired of all these puns. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this.
Yep, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again on the SwiftCase Productivity Podcast.